Hello, this is Skylit Lake reading Wine and Dine in Spite by Vienna Azu. Chapter 2. Very, very extraordinary. There, sitting in Izuku's bedroom that night, wrapped in blankets with the glow of Izuku's laptop on their face. Mindless hero announcers playing on it. Neither of them found themselves fully focused. As far as Shouto could tell, with Izuku's lack of rapid speech and Shoto's obvious enthusiasm at the play-by-play explanation of Mount Lady's most recent fight. From under the covers, a freckled hand reached out to press the spacebar on the computer, the pause symbol showing up on the screen. The green-haired boy turns towards Shouto, a complicated expression on his face. "Do you want to talk about it now?" "Talk about what?" answers Shouto, as if he didn't know what exactly needed to be talked about. Izuku sighs, a soft, delicate sound that Shouto rarely hears in its true form, giving the boys incredible patience and tolerance towards their classmates. "Todoroki, you know I'm always willing to help you, but I'm not sure I can do this. I mean, how am I supposed to do this? And in a way your family will like? What if I mess up and they pull you out of UA? We absolutely cannot let that happen. I can't let that happen. And if it was my fault, I'd just start talking about All Might and heroics and school and everyone else, and that would lead into a conversation that could reveal the truth. I'm the worst person to pick for this job. I've never even dated anyone. How am I supposed to date someone like you?" "Todoroki, Shouto." A confused sound came out of the other boy. "What?" "You should start calling me Shouto. If we're gonna date, that is." Izuku looks at him with all the exasperation his freckled face can possibly pull together. "I can't do this. Fake date you, I mean, anyways. I just can't." Shouto shuts the computer in front of them and twists his hand into the blankets draped over them. "But you can. You're the only one I'd trust to do this with. I thought about other people, you know. I tried to reason about who would be best to take to meet my father, and you were the best option. It's always you." Shoto's hand reaches out for Izuku's wrist, a surge of emotions in his chest, and he can't quite figure out why he's feeling. "I wouldn't pick anyone else other than you, because you understand. You understand what this means to me. You understand what I'm trying to do. The 'you understand me' is what's left unsaid." He hears the hitch at Izuku's breath for a brief second before the boy turns his hand around, palms up to brush at Shoto's own wrist. As he pulls him closer, as if for a secret, he laughs a soft, breathy thing, and starts to trace the inside of Shoto's wrist. "Yeah? You sure it's not just because you want to tell your dad that you're dating All Might's son?" He grins. Shouto laughs back at him and bumps their head together. "I like to think of that as an added plus." He smiles. Izuku smiles back at him in silence before looking away. "You do realize I suck at acting and might make your dad absolutely livid the moment he sees me, right?" Shouto reaches a hand to mess with Izuku's emerald curls. "I'm counting on it." They put the computer back on, the theorist's voice filling the room again. "The Todoroki household is larger than any house Izuku has ever been in, including Ka-chan's, which is saying a lot, considering the blonde's designer parents have always had an absolutely huge house. But it's something Izuku expects from the number 2 hero. They arrive at Shouto's home on a late September afternoon, with Izuku's bags packed and being held by the dual user himself, and Shouto's favorite scarf wrapped around Izuku's neck. He had suggested this, mentioning how their charade would seem more believable if they began implying romance before even knocking on the main entrance. Izuku had agreed, and as such, his dearly beloved Hawk's jacket was draped over Shouto's shoulder, while the keychain on the boy's phone includes a small heart and a custom-made Deku charm, which connected to Izuku's Shouto charm, courtesy and product of Hudson May herself, who had ensured they would interlock via magnets when pressed together. It was a sweet touch, and a touch that Izuku would definitely keep even after this whole thing was over. Maybe, just maybe, Shouto would too. Izuku goes to wrap his hand around the boy's arm as he moves, a move he hopes would convey intimacy and care, aside from helping him keep warm in the cold air around them. Shouto jumped at the feeling of the touch, reeling back in surprise before realizing what was happening. "Is this okay?" Izuku asks in a quiet voice. Shouto makes a sound of acceptance, barely a whisper as he stares back at Izuku with nervous eyes. Shouto unlocks the door and starts to guide Izuku through several doors, trails, and buildings. They arrive at the main building dining room/living room. A small table sits in the center, directly facing the door and clearly meant for private home dinner rather than sophisticated social meeting. Izuku also sees the dainty pair of dress shoes neatly aligned with the scattered pair of white sneakers beside it. "My siblings must be home already. Do you mind waiting while I go get them?" Izuku nods as he's led to a small love seat that is placed next to a window. The afternoon sunlight spills through the window as Izuku waits on the love seat. It's been a while since he's been home for the holidays. It's been well over 10 years since he spent the holidays with anyone but his mum. He thinks about what she must be thinking right now. He's been vague with her, only mentioning how he was gonna go spend the holidays with a friend due to her being troubled over what he was gonna do while she was on a business trip. His mother is often gone for the holidays, choosing to do extra work and attend events no one else can, in order to try and rack up some money for them. He's been very troubled about it as a little kid, and even gone as far as to tell her he didn't love her. He had much changed since then, rather forgiving his mother and having learned to understand her sorrows. Not like anything had really changed, just him growing up and his mother being equally busy. He's startled out of his thoughts by the sight of Shouto reaching to hold his hand. Izuku lets him, standing up as Shouto leads him towards the main area. "Natsuo, behave!" scolds Fuyumi as she tries to smooth down part of Natsuo's hair. They both freeze at Izuku's entrance. They clearly dressed for the occasion, with Fuyumi's formal white dress and Natsuo's light blue dress shirt with slacks. Izuku feels a little silly in his school uniform. "He's your boyfriend? Izuku Midoriya?" yells Natsuo as he peels Fuyumi off him. Shouto squeezes Izuku's hand as he takes a small step in front of him. "Yes, is that an issue?" Natsuo smiles widely and skirts around Shouto towards Izuku. He places a hand on Izuku's shoulder, and Izuku jumps at being startled. "Not at all." He smiles, all teeth, slim grey eyes like Shouto's. Do come in, Midoriya. He lets go of Shouto's hand as he's led away from them, fingers twitching to take hold of the dual user's warm skin. Again, he balls his hand into a fist in embarrassment as Natsuo takes him around to another already prepared and served table with a clearly pre-planned dinner. Fumi rushes towards them and starts to speak to him. "Ah, you arrived earlier than we expected you to, but I'm sure you two are already hungry. Hero school must be really tough." Izuku sits down where Fumi points him to, and Shouto goes to sit next to him. For a second, he looks at Shouto's eyes, and the entire charade is lost. The warmth of the smile that seeps through Shouto's lips is wholeheartedly his own genuine one. The softness of the touch with which he massages Izuku's finger webbing is entirely true. Izuku's head feels like jelly, and he returns the smile, shaking fingers, turning palm up to reciprocate the touch. The moment is broken as Fumi and Natsuo sit in front of them. Shouto drops his hands, and Izuku feels a pang of something stir in his gut. Fumi starts talking as she motions for them to eat. "It's so lovely to have you here, Midoriya. I don't believe we've met yet. Well, at least not officially. I saw you at the sports festival, though." Izuku fiddles with his fingers as he replies, yeah, thank you. I didn't really do that well. Sorry that's your first impression of me." He laughs. Shouto's sister dismisses his words with a hand and keeps on talking. "Oh, nonsense. We all saw what you did during the obstacle course, and your battles were incredible." "Thank you." Izuku smiles. "I'm flattered." Shouto cuts in before Izuku can say anything else, holding onto Izuku's hand on the table, and speaks for him. "He doesn't give himself enough credit," says Shouto in his usual deadpan voice. "But he's one of the most amazing people I've ever met." There is an edge of something in Shouto's voice, something Izuku can't quite recognize, but that causes him to feel lightheaded. Izuku smiles. "Okay, I'm tired of dancing around it," says Natsuo as he puts down his food and interlocks his hand in front of him. "So, Midoriya, I hear you're dating my brother." Fumi gapes at Natsuo and hits him on the shoulder as Izuku's mouth dries up. They've rehearsed this. Shouto and him, that is. They've practiced how they will handle this, and how they will react, and what they'll say. Yet Izuku can say nothing, because he's frozen in place and anxious. A hand reaches out in front of his own, and gives it an encouraging squeeze. He turns to see Shouto, chopstick still raised to his mouth, and gaze on his bowl. Yet his left hand is wrapped firmly around Izuku's interwoven ones. Izuku's body heats up, and his chest tightens again. He wraps his pinky around Shouto's in response, and the warm left hand lets go. "Yes," says Izuku confidently, cheeks tinting red as he speaks. "I am dating Shouto." And God, he can't even begin to process what it feels like to himself saying his first name. To go from thinking about intimacy of his name to feeling its syllables roll off his tongue. To voice his name like he's never voiced anyone else's. To say a first name with the conscious and the mind to know what it means for him, and what it means for them, and what it means for what they are. "Shouto, huh?" teases Natsuo, smirk on his lips. Yeah, utters Izuku nervously. This is absolutely the best thing that could have happened to the Todoroki family. Both Izuku and Shouto whip their heads toward the college student as he shrugs through the words. I mean, of all people, Shouto, you fell in love with the one person that would piss our father off the most? All Might's son? Really? Wait, what? Tries to cut in Izuku, because apparently delusions run the family. That was part of the reason I fell in love with Izuku in the first place. Cuts in Shouto. His heart skips a beat as the words spark another wave of the something that courses through Izuku. Hearing his name in that low, monotone, yet somehow affectionate voice. It feels odd, it feels different, and yet it feels right. It feels like coming home after a day of training. It feels like the warm hand between his shoulders when his muscles feel tense and worn out. It feels like the rhythm they easily fall into while fighting side by side. Shouto's mouth forms around Izuku's name, and Izuku is reminded why Shouto chose him for the job. Suddenly, much of his anxiety disappears. Yeah, whatever you say. Izuku laughs. Fumi and Natsuo look at each other in an unspoken conversation, communicating a number of ideas and thoughts that Izuku is fully unaware of. Well, I think it's lovely that Shouto was able to find someone who was his true match in such a good environment, says Fumi, clasping her hands. And with you of all people, Midoriya, how romantic. She smiles. Izuku is partly left wondering the reason why he's such an important part of Shouto's pretend relationship, considering his friend could have practically anyone he wanted based on his handsome looks and his quirk, but decided not to further question or follow up on his thought in fear it would compromise their charade. He just nods along with what she says and turns back to his plate. After a considerable amount of time and a considerable amount of questions about Izuku's relationship with Shouto, the clock on the wall startles them out of their conversation as its loud clangs fill the room. Fumi checks her wristwatch and starts to pick up the plates from the table in a startled manner. Goodness, look at the time. It's so late already. She collects both their plate and Shouto helps Izuku stand up from the table in a very gentlemanly manner. You two better start getting ready to sleep. If you don't have plans for tomorrow, Shouto, I was hoping you would show Midoriya around the house, and maybe make some time to the forest around here. Father said he would join us for dinner tomorrow night, so I wanted to give you a bit of peace before that. Okay, says Shouto in a completely Shouto fashion and warming Izuku's heart. Right, so you two better head to Shouto's room. I presume you'll be sharing the bed, is that right? Wait, what? Okay, says Shouto, also in an absolute Shouto fashion. Hey guys, I hope you like this video. This is the second chapter of this fanfic, and it's more sublime compared to the first one, but it's got some hints of funny in there. I kind of like it. I love the dynamic and the very descriptive language of Izuku's thoughts and Shouto's thoughts. It's just like, whoa, it's so fun and so cool. I just love this fanfic. Anyways, it's not currently complete. It's very new. I'm pretty sure I discovered maybe 2 weeks after the first chapter was released, so it's very new. So I probably will complete it. I probably will complete the rest of those chapters when they do come out. But in the meantime, I'll leave it as one shot. Once it gets like maybe 5 chapters, I'll probably just put it as its own, playlist for those who want to listen and update the title so everyone can understand. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!